it great to be here in sunny Blackpool. Firstly, I'd like to start this by saying a big thank you to the organisers of the conference, to Helen Smith, to Deborah Stokes, to Phil Griffiths and everybody else in the UKIP North West office. Please give them a round of applause. It's also great to be back here in the North Brent Castle Hotel. I remember coming here in, I think it was February 2009, to meet someone who we thought was going to come over and join UKIP, and he did, after having a meeting here with us, myself and Fred McGlade, at that point in time. And the person that we recruited in this hotel, ladies and gentlemen, was none other than Frank Carson, bless his soul. And what a great man he was. I'm also exceptionally proud today. I'm proud because I see how much this region has moved on, how it's progressed over the years. You look at where we are in terms of membership now, more than ever before. I remember taking over the leadership of this region back in 2008 when we had roughly 850 members. You look at the membership now, ladies and gentlemen, we now have over 3,500 members here in the northwest of England. You look at where we are in terms of local elections, higher percentages than ever before. I go back to the years of 2008 and 9. We didn't have a single councillor here in the northwest. We now have 18 district, unitary and borough councillors, and also on top of that we have over 50 who are parish and town councillors. I see that as real progress. We also have 3 hard-working MEPs. I'm not going to blow my own trumpet, like, but there we are. But we're very lucky, we're well served here in the northwest of England. Stephen and Louise do a fantastic job on your behalf. They're 2 of the most prominent MEPs that we have in the party, 2 of the most noticeable faces now on television. You see them more on TV and hear them more on the radio than probably any other MEP from the other political parties. They're really doing a fantastic job and we're really served well here in the northwest. And now it's about MPs. It's about getting people elected at this general election. And I genuinely believe, ladies and gentlemen, if we get our campaign right, if we target and focus sensibly in terms of boots on the ground, in terms of finance, and we really drill down, I genuinely believe we can take UKIP members to the House of Commons here in the northwest on May the 7th. And why do I believe this? I believe it because we speak the language of the people. We talk common sense. Politics is about empathy. People look at the politicians of Westminster and they don't sound like them, they don't look like them, they don't act like them, they never give a straight answer to a straight question. And we are not like that. Your UKIP candidate could be the man in a pub on a Friday night or the woman in the shopping precinct on a Saturday morning. We are normal people. We've all had our ups and downs in life. We've all got backstories. We've all had proper jobs. Isn't that novel? But ladies and gentlemen, I always say this. The problem that you have at Westminster at the moment is that you have a political class that are legislating for working men and working women when none of them have ever really worked in their lives. You look at the Labour Party, it's the best example, I think. I have something when it comes to the Labour Party called the Working Man's Club Test. And what it is I look at the Labour front bench and I ask this question: could you see any of them settling down for a beer or a gin and tonic in a working man's club in Blackpool or in Bootle or in Jarrow or in Durham Well, the answer has to be no, because they're not normal people. You know, in the days of Clement Attlee, the Labour Party MPs came from the mines, from the docks, from the factories. Well, where do they come from now? Well, they generally go to public school. They then go to Oxbridge and study PPE. They then get a job in an MP's office and they become MPs themselves without never having any real life experience. It's not good enough, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why I believe we will take seats off Labour at this general election. Policies as well. We have common sense policies. We speak the language of the man and woman on the street. When it comes to immigration, we have sensible solutions. We don't think it makes any sense to have an open door policy to the whole of Eastern Europe when 1 million of our own kids can't get a job. It makes no sense to allow a city the size of Hull to come into your country every single year when you've got 2 million people unemployed. And we won't allow this to happen. And this is how we'll stop it. We will have a points-based system like Australia, whereby if you've got the skills that this country needs, yes, please come here and work, but we will never allow someone to take out of the system without ever putting in first. On the economy and taxation, common sense solutions. We want to take everyone on minimum wage out of taxation altogether, so the first 13.5 grand you earn, you're not taxed on. That will encourage people to go back to work and put more money in people's pockets. It makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. We will do away with the policies of hate and envy. We say no to the bedroom tax. We say no to the mansion tax. And indeed, we will ensure that people on under £55,000 a year will only pay 35 pence in the pound. Because we know, ladies and gentlemen, don't we, that people know how to spend their own money better than any government. We will save money as well. We will save money on saying no to HS2, a HS2 project that is only solely designed to benefit London. It will not benefit us here in the northwest. It certainly won't benefit Blackpool, because it doesn't go to Blackpool, does it? It doesn't go to Liverpool. It doesn't go to Cumbria. It doesn't go to Lancaster. It's there for the benefit of London. We will scrap HS2. We will save £50 billion, and we will reinvest that money in our local rail and transport networks. Also save money on doing away with many of the quangos that we have in this country, which popped up everywhere under New Labour between 97 and 2010. A quangocracy we have, which is estimated to be costing this country £40 billion a year. David Cameron, the Prime Minister in 2010, said there would be a bonfire of quangos when he came to power. He hasn't even lit a match. We will light that bonfire, and we will set many of them up in smoke. We will save money on foreign aid. We will cut foreign aid by 85%, saving £9 billion a year. And when people say, oh, well, isn't that terrible? You know, you are cutting foreign aid to the countries that need it most. Well, let me tell you this. Even if we cut foreign aid by 85%, we will still be giving more than Spain and Italy put together. Ladies and gentlemen, we are spending £32 million every single day in foreign aid. Now, I don't have a heart of stone. I think we should be giving foreign aid to countries that really need it. Countries where there has been Ebola crises. Countries where there are starving children. Places in Africa, for example. But I don't believe we should be giving foreign aid to ensure that dictators become richer. And I believe that that foreign aid should be focused on the people that really need it. And we shouldn't be giving foreign aid to countries like China, which is going to be the largest economy on the planet by 2050. We shouldn't be giving foreign aid to Brazil, which is just overtaking us in the league of economic powers. We shouldn't be giving foreign aid to Argentina, which sabre-rattles over the Falklands. And we shouldn't be giving foreign aid to India, with its own space programme, with its own nuclear programme, which has more millionaires than billionaires than ourselves. We should not be handing the hard-earned money of this country over in foreign aid when 1 million of our own people last year had to go to food banks. Charity begins at home. On the NHS, common sense again. You know, when Labour came to power in 1997, we were spending £33 billion a year on the NHS. When they left in 2010, it had gone up to £99 billion. Big increase in spending on the NHS. But where was that money going? Was it going on doctors? Was it going on nurses? Was it going on midwives? Well, let me just give you a few statistics. There was an increase in middle management in the NHS in those Labour years by 48%. 51% of people who now work for the NHS are not clinically qualified. It is the 5th largest employer in the world, the largest employer in Europe. One out of every 16 people who work in Britain now work for the NHS. So I ask you again, where was Labour's money spent? It was spent on pen pushers, it was spent on bureaucrats, it was spent on management. And what we in UKIP are saying is we want to give the NHS an extra £3 billion a year, but we want that money spent on the front line, on the doctors, on the midwives, on the nurses, and let's ensure the NHS gets back to being what it should be about, which is looking after the health of this nation. Are committed to giving a real voice for England. It cannot be right, ladies and gentlemen, that Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland have their parliaments and assemblies, yet England has nothing. And indeed, it is wrong that the SNP and the Scots have said that they will vote on English-only issues in the House of Commons. We in UKIP are committed to saying English votes for English laws, and the Scottish, the Welsh and the Northern Irish MPs should remove themselves from the House of Commons when English issues are being debated. And ladies and gentlemen, we are the party of real localism. We want to devolve power down to its most local level, the lowest level. We want to give more power to parish and town councils. We want to give them greater responsibility. We want to give them higher precepts to ensure that they have more money. We don't believe in city mayors. We don't believe in devolving power up to combined authorities. And certainly, we've got a warning for Ed Miliband. If you think, Mr Miliband, that you are going to split England up into Euro regions, which is the Labour plan, we will fight you and fight you again on that issue. This party is only in its infancy, really. If you compare us to the Conservative Party, which has been around for over 200 years, the Liberals, which really sprouted under Palmerston in the 1850s, and indeed the Labour Party, which is over 100 years old, with its birth under Keir Hardie. We were born in 1993. We're only a young party, but look at the great strides that we have made. And the reason we've made those strides, and the reason why we've already made history, let's not forget that. You know, last year, European elections, we became the first political party to win a national election that wasn't Labour or the Conservatives since 1906. We've already made history. And the reason why we've made great strides is because people are now beginning to realise that the European Union affects every single aspect of their lives. And we have spread the message. We have educated people. People now know that 70% of their laws are not made by their elected representatives in Westminster. They are made in a building about a mile away from the European Parliament called the Parliament Building. And in that building, 28 European commissioners meet in secret, with 3,000 working groups, by the way, who advise them on the legislation, but they won't tell us who these 3,000 working groups actually are. But we know it's big business, it's the corporations, it's the multinationals. These are the people who are driving legislation behind closed doors in the European Union. And what we're saying, ladies and gentlemen, isn't xenophobic in any way, shape or form. What we're saying is that we want the people to make the decisions that affect our lives, not to be European commissioners, but to be the people we elect at Westminster. And it's a horrific statistic if you think about it, that 70% of our laws are now made in a foreign country by unelected foreign politicians behind closed doors. Did we really fight 2 world wars in the last century? Did those brave boys and girls go up in the skies over southern England in the Battle of Britain? Did we land on the beaches of Normandy on D-Day for 70% of our laws now to be made in a foreign country? Ladies and gentlemen, the politicians of the 70s, the 80s, the 90s and the noughties have given away something that was not theirs to give. They gave away British sovereignty. And we in UKIP are committed to taking that sovereignty back. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, we pay for this. They don't pay us. You would think they would. But we pay them. It's madness. £55 million every single day we hand over to the European Union. And of course we get half back. And that's why when you walk around Liverpool and Manchester, you see signs everywhere, don't you? The European Union paid for this project. Thank the EU. This was built with European money. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no such thing as European money. It's not taxation. And where is the other half going? Well, it's building sewer systems in Budapest. It's building an underground in Warsaw. It's building motorways in Romania. It's a bit like foreign aid, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? What we're saying in UKIP is that £55 million a day is your taxation, and it should be spent in our country, on our schools, on our hospitals, and on our transport network. But of course, don't worry. Don't worry. Because we're going to get a referendum. Or so Dave tells us anyway. Well, there's 2 problems here with Dave and his referendum. Firstly, he has promised a referendum before. He promised us a referendum on the Lisbon Treaty, only to renege on that promise once the 2009 European elections were out the way. We do not believe you, Dave. The second problem is that he's talking about a renegotiation when the European Union has made it perfectly clear that it doesn't want to negotiate. So how can Dave renegotiate with an organisation that doesn't want to negotiate? It is impossible. And another problem is this. He's talking about 2017. By 2017, ladies and gentlemen, we would have handed over another £50 billion to a corrupt organisation that hasn't had its account signed off for 19 years on the bounce. And what we're saying is, yes, we want a referendum, but we don't want it in 2017. We want a referendum, and we want it now. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to finish by saying this. We're going to come under sustained attack in the next 8 weeks. You're going to see things in newspapers, pretty awful things. You're going to see more tripe on the broadcast media, like the Channel 4 documentary. Shameful, like the Channel 5 one last week, which was meant to be filming UKIP supporters, yet none of us know who these people are. We're going to come under attack, but we're only under attack because the establishment is running scared. The politicians in Westminster and their friends in the press are afraid of UKIP because they don't understand us, they can't handle us, because we are speaking the language of the people. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue with the hard work. Let's get out onto the streets. Let's deliver leaflets. Let's write letters to the press. Talk to your friends. If you're a member of UKIP, you've done a fantastic job, but there's still work to be done. If you're not a member of UKIP, join the People's Army. Believe in Britain. Get on board, because colleagues, friends, brothers and sisters, if we do get this right, we will not just change politics in this country forever, we will change society for the better. Thank you very much.